Normal summertime pattern, little slight chance of a late day pop-up shower here or there, but otherwise in the 80s. Looking good.
Temperatures feeling great.
Yes.
All right, we're going
like summer.
to dive into that in just a little bit, but first, the big story today. You've likely been watching the coverage of former President Trump in court. He was arraigned in a federal indictment on 37 charges and pleaded guilty just about an hour ago. The charges stem from the former president's alleged mishandling of documents.
So hundreds of demonstrators gathered outside of the Miami courthouse where Trump faced his charges and pled not guilty. Because this is a federal indictment, cameras were not allowed inside. The former president pleaded again not guilty to all 37 counts. Yeah,
he's accused of illegally retaining classified documents, storing them at his Mar-a-Lago home, and conspiring to hide them from the government after it subpoenaed him to get them back. Well, this is one of several investigations into Trump since he left office. This is the first time the Justice Department has brought charges against a former president.
Now, in announcing the indictment on Friday, the special counsel Jack Smith maintained the case is not politically motivated. However, Trump is calling it a witch hunt. The former president, who is the current frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination, has seen his poll numbers go up since his indictment. He'll be headed back to his New Jersey golf club to rally with supporters and meet with campaign donors later tonight.
Another indictment for Donald Trump, the former president charged with 37 federal counts related to the mishandling of classified documents and obstructing investigations. This only a few months after Trump was indicted in New York on charges he illegally concealed hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels. So what could all these criminal cases mean for Trump's run at taking back the White House in 2024?
Let's verify. Can you be elected president if you've been charged with or convicted of a crime? Our sources are the Constitution and the U.S. Supreme Court. Article 2 of the Constitution lays out 3 eligibility requirements for becoming president. You have to be a natural-born American citizen, be at least 35 years old, and have been a U.S. resident for at least 14 years. That's it. No other requirements. And the Supreme Court has further ruled that neither Congress nor state legislatures can add new requirements on top of what the Constitution already says. The only way to change the requirements would be a constitutional amendment. So we can verify, yes, you can be elected president if you've been charged with or convicted of a crime. Even someone who's found guilty and sent to prison could still, legally speaking, if elected, run the country from a cell. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Back here locally, there was a development in Greensboro today leading to a lot more jobs. ProKidney revealed it's investing nearly $1 billion in a new facility near PTI Airport, creating up to 330 jobs. The average salary of these jobs, $74,000, nearly $20,000 higher than the county average. Commission Chair Skip Alston reacted to the announcement.
I think it'll be very soon, probably within the next year. So within the next 5 years, they hope to have those 330 jobs available to the community. So it's, I think they're basically already next door in Winston-Salem. So they don't have too far to go in order to go ahead and start the expansion right here in Guilford County.
We did ask the company today what those jobs entail, but they weren't able to give us an answer right away because it's still several, I imagine, months and years down the road. You'll remember both the county and city recently approved incentives for ProKidney to try to convince the Winston-Salem-based company to move here. ProKidney focuses on chronic kidney disease and treatment.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. We now know the reason behind a reported spill near the Greensboro-Randolph mega site. Folks working in the Water Resources Department with the city of Greensboro say it was caused by a contractor installing a water main. They say that contractor was flushing the water main and discharged chlorinated water into Climax Creek. Officials say the contractor is working with the State Department of Environmental Quality and the city to monitor and restore the site.
There's lots of work underway in downtown Greensboro right now where workers are installing permanent patios outside some businesses. Most of them are on Elm Street. This came about because outdoor dining was such a hit during the pandemic.
We also did a lot of research with the National Restaurant Association and found that about 54% of Americans still prefer to eat outdoors because of COVID and don't see that changing anytime soon.
Cheesecakes by Alex was the first location to get the upgrade. In all, 13 businesses will have outdoor patios, which are replacing the temporary ones you might be used to seeing downtown. The work should wrap up later this week.
Well, check out how Greensboro is revitalizing the community. The Creative Greensboro Residency Program added art to a local neighborhood. Emilio Mars painted art on the basketball court at Random Woods Park, and Chuck Johnson painted 2 crosswalk murals in the Mill District. The art installation features colorful characters, swirling lines, and the name of the neighborhoods.
Forsyth County Commissioners approved the county budget last night. Supporters say it does not include tax increases and will invest in services countywide. Commissioners in Guilford County will consider their budget on Thursday.
In case you missed it, changes are coming to one of America's most popular game shows. That's right. After more than 40 years on the job, Wheel of Fortune host Pat Sajak is calling it a career. He revealed that his next season will be his last. He posted about the decision on Twitter, writing, "It's been a wonderful ride, and I'll have more to say in the coming months. Many thanks to you all. If nothing else, it'll keep the clickbait sites busy." The 76-year-old Sajak has been hosting the game show with Vanna White since 1982. Gosh. I don't even know. How does that happen?
So here's something that I think is very interesting. So a few years ago, I got to go to Wheel of Fortune, interview Pat and Vanna just about their career and all that. And one of our coworkers said to me last night, "I cannot imagine working somewhere for 40 years. And I said, "They don't really work." So I found out their schedule. They work 2 days back to back every 2 weeks.
What?
So on one day, they'll record 5 shows.
Okay.
The next day, they record 5 more, and then they're off for the next 12 days.
Wow. That's some nice PTO time.
That's how you work.
And some of those shows,
That's how you work.
yes, some of those shows, like game shows, they'll work for 4 months and record the entire year, and they're off 8 months.
Gotcha.
Right, and so this one's a
Yes.
little bit different. I mean, could you imagine only working 2 days every 2 weeks?
I wonder if Vanna's going to go with him, you know, and just say,
I don't know.
let's do
She
it
hasn't
together.
said she's leaving.
You know what I think would be interesting to see is if Vanna White decided to leave, if they would just kind of eliminate her role or the role of that person.
Yeah.
Because now with technology, I mean,
You don't need to
just
turn
don't
a
have to
letter,
have it,
right?
right,
Yeah.
right.
All right. Well, in light of Sajak's announcement, I asked you all on Facebook, how do you know it is time to retire? All right. And for those who are already retired, what advice would you give? Well, Carolyn says, keep your mind busy and exercise. Cindy says, think twice. Dun, dun, dun. Shelley posted, as long as you can sustain your current lifestyle, any time is a good time to retire. Some people don't know how to stop working though. LOL. I am sure. Yeah.
I remember asking my dad when he retired, I said, what does it feel like? And my dad, you have to know him, but he was a straight arrow, man, just by the book rules. He said for the first 3 months, I felt guilty of getting a paycheck for doing nothing. And then I said, yeah, but you put into the system your whole, and you put into blah, blah, blah. And he said 3 months after that, he was like, this is the greatest thing ever.
right.
My dad retired at 55.
Wow.
And he keeps telling me, so when are you going to retire? You're going to be able to retire at 55? And I'm like, no, Dad, I'm not retiring at 55. But
he's a government employee, though. That's
he was
why,
a government employee, and he was in the service and all that kind of stuff. But he has really enjoyed it. I mean, he's made the most of it. He's traveled. He's done fun jobs that he wanted to do. He goes golfing. Now his social calendar is set. And I'm like, hey,
Full.
can you do this? And he's like, no, I got something on that day, and that day.
That's great. See, I think it would probably depend on how much I liked my job and how much money I had saved up. Because if I could work another year, then my annual or my monthly allowance would go up. So it's kind of a fine balance.
It all comes down to money and insurance. Those are the 2 things that determine whether people retire or not.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about the forecast, because we're not retiring. We're here. You're stuck with us. Here's what we're looking at with temperatures out there. It's not all that bad, right? Upper 70s right now, 78 for Greensboro, at least at PTI there. 79 in Burlington. The high point, you're at 81. Asheboro, 78. Lexington 79, it's even 76 in Mount Airy there, my hometown, looking pretty good. Wind's not too bad. We're seeing that southwest flow. That's why we're getting a little bit warmer. And we do see temperatures start to build over the next few days. High temperatures go up a couple degrees at least each day for a while. We'll peak toward the end of the week. But the wind's just enough. You know, that 10 to 15 mile an hour wind just enough to kind of take the edge off of that hot temperature. It's just nice, really nice. And tomorrow morning, 58 degrees, a little cool, but then tomorrow partly cloudy, and that begins our warming trend. Winds aren't bad for tonight or tomorrow. They're 5 to 10 out of the southwest tonight, and we call it kind of a zonal flow, but basically west to east straight. That's what we'll see for tomorrow, and partly cloudy skies. Now you'll notice once we do get to that 7-day, there's a rain chance in almost every afternoon. Doesn't mean we see rain all day long. It means we're in that summer pattern where you get a pop-up, very isolated shower. In some cases, the county next to you gets a little rain and you get nothing. I mean, that's kind of the way it works in the summer. A couple of clouds here and there. We go out to a wider shot. No system's really close enough to us just yet. That cold front just went through and brings in some decent weather for tomorrow thanks to that big ridge of high pressure. Here's your 7-day outlook, and we stair-step it up, don't we? 83 tomorrow, 84 for Thursday, and 85 for Friday and Saturday. Rain chances 30% for Wednesday, Thursday. We'll dry out a little bit on Friday. This weekend, hey, Father's Day, 83 degrees, 40% chance of an isolated shower, and a 50-50 shot on Monday and Tuesday. You know, if you're like me, any exhibit that talks about space and the universe, love it, right down my alley. So this one is called Sun, Earth, and Universe, and it includes everything from a real meteorite to a space simulation. It is definitely what to see at the GSC. All right, Jessica, you're the expert because I don't know what I'm talking about, although I've always been fascinated with space. So tell us a little bit about some of these artifacts we have here.
Yeah, so we actually had a really awesome volunteer who used to work for Lockheed Martin when they did the programming, or the media for the Hubble telescope in 1990, and he donated a bunch of items from his time during that. And what we did is we actually installed them in these windows to complement our Sun, Earth, Universe exhibit in the lower pendulum lobby. So some of the really awesome things that we are displaying are a scale model of the telescope that was gifted to him for his work on that project. And then one of my favorite things is actually a rejected tile from a space shuttle.
Wait, so that's the real deal?
Yes, so that he actually found it in the trash and said, can I keep this?
What?
And they said, you sure can. And now we get to show everybody what an actual space shuttle tile looks like here at the Science Center.
All right, now what's the big rock over here?
It's a meteorite.
Oh,
so it is
the real
something
deal?
that, yes, so that is something that we have here in our collection. I figure if we're going to have an exhibit on space, we obviously have to have a space rock included.
Absolutely.
So this is one of our largest meteorites here. We have a little information about the difference between a meteor, a meteorite, and what the kinds of things you're looking for if you find a rock in your backyard.
That is so cool. Thank you for my science lesson.
I'm here to
I love
help.
this. On to other things. Now that person doesn't look all that interested, but trust me, in real life, they have an actual training suit from the Mercury program. I mean, that is cool. Forget the blank expression up here. I'm sure they look a lot different. Speaking of capsules, look at this replica here. Jeff's here to talk about this. What in the world is this thing?
Well, this was a student project at High Point University for my students in the electronics class. And then another student took it over, and we now have a space capsule simulator, the Argo 7, which is not a real spacecraft, but this is a little bit larger than the Mercury capsules and a little bit smaller than the Gemini capsules.
So and I can't imagine anything being smaller than that and you're in outer space.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean? They were tiny and crowded. But in this simulator, you get to fly up to the International Space Station.
All right. Do I and I got my
You have a helmet.
We can.
Got to be safe.
You can wear.
Yeah.
If this is all you need to go into space, I am in really good shape here. All right, let me put it on. Where's that little button? Oh, here it is. That's my favorite part. That is
You
my
look
favorite part.
just
All
like the Mercury astronaut.
All right,
there.
so let me get in. How do I sit? This way?
You're going to lie back with your feet up over here.
Okay.
And then you're going to hit the big green button to start the simulation.
You ready? Wait, I need my visor down. Okay. Goodbye. I won't be at work tomorrow. Where's the abort button?
Argo 7, welcome to low Earth orbit.
There we are in orbit.
You could feel all of it, right?
All
those
the stuff,
Gs.
all the things. Yeah, it's cool because you do have a control panel and there actually is an abort button. So if you're like, no, I've had enough, you can just hit the little button and stop. It's cool that High Point University kids put that together.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's neat. But that astronaut suit is actually from the Mercury program. It was a training suit, not one that went to space, but one the astronauts actually used. My gosh, that would have been 50s or 60s, I guess.
Right. I just think it's cool that you can actually get into it,
Yeah.
right? Because then you can feel just how small it is. I think when you think of a spaceship, you think of something big, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the size of like smaller than a Yugo.
And think about it that probably had 2 astronauts in it back then
Right.
because they were cramped side by side.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the meteorite was probably
It
my
is cool.
favorite part of that. I mean, because what is a meteorite?
Well, and you need to read it because it described a meteor and a meteorite are different things. And
Is
I
a
didn't-
meteorite just
I
like a
didn't know
baby
that.
meteor?
It's
more of
it
a
does
guess.
sound that way. A Chadite and a Chad. Yes. We're going
Oh, to that we're going to break.
to take a break. We'll be right back. Well, what you were listening to was me running out here and shutting the door because I was late to my spot. It's typical Eric Chilton. Let's talk about the weather, shall we? Sorry about that loud noise. Wham, I hit the door. Temperatures are good. It's very comfortable out here today. It's the type of thing where, well, I got to be honest, with a little breeze, it feels perfect. Some of these temperatures, like for me, once we get into the 80s, I'd rather have some low to mid 70s as a perfect temperature. But with the winds, 10 to 15 here and there, it's a light breeze, it's perfect. In the shade, it feels great. So most of us we're looking at upper 70s to low 80s, just depending on where you are. Here are the winds we talked about. And again, if you look at some of these readings, 5 to 8 miles per hour, not a big deal. You get up to 10 to 15, that's just enough to kind of take the edge off that heat. And it'll be nice. Now, tomorrow morning, a little bit cool for some folks. I love this, but I'm really hot-natured. 58 degrees, clear skies for tomorrow. That's a good way to start the day. 83 for the high later on. Our normal high, now that sounds warm when we talk about our highs going 83 to 88, which is kind of what we see over the next few days, but that's exactly where we should be for this time of the year. We went through just a cool spell. May was unusually cool for us, so don't get used to that because summer is now knocking on the door. It's really all back here again. All right, couple of clouds to the south. Not a big deal really for us. We'll still call it partly cloudy. We're kind of sandwiched between two systems, one to the north, one well to the south. They're not bothering us just yet. Most of the rain chances you're going to see in our 7-day forecast are coming to us courtesy of just kind of those pop-up showers. Once we get in the 80s this time of the year, there's a chance, 20 or 30% each afternoon, it seems like, whether a front is coming through or not. And that's kind of what we're moving into now. All right, tonight, mostly clear, 58 degrees, the highs tomorrow up to 83, and then our 7-day forecast. We do get a little bit warmer each day. No complaints though. I mean, it's still within reason, right? 83 on Wednesday, 84 Thursday. There's an afternoon pop-up shower or storm chance both days. Friday may be our dry day at 85, but Saturday and Sunday it starts to slip back in again. 85 on Saturday. Another frontal boundary is starting to move through toward the end of the weekend, first part of next week, and that drops us to 83 for Father's Day and 80 with a 50% chance of rain Monday and Tuesday.
If you've got a fear of spiders, there's really not much you can do to get over that. Last week, you'll remember we introduced you to a new effort to change that.
Right, so today we're going to expand on the work of the London Zoo on a mission to help people overcome their spidey anxiety. Spiders are creepy and crawly, and to some people, downright terrifying.
I can't walk up the stairs without having all the lights on because I once had a spider in the corner of the stairs.
And I had a full-on panic attack to the point where I got so stressed. My nose started bleeding.
Elena Brewster is at the London Zoo's Friendly Spider program. The hope is to detangle her web of worry.
I rate my fear a 10 out of 10.
Amazingly, I used to be scared of spiders. They're around anyway.
Zookeeper Dave Clark has helped more than 5,000 people shed their dread over the past 30 years.
We know we've had 98% success, which is amazing.
The one-day course mixes psychotherapy with hypnosis.
They live a life of fear. You don't need that fear.
But first, they have to face it.
You're doing really well. You're doing really well.
Experts believe arachnophobia could come from childhood trauma involving spiders or a fear passed on by a parent.
My cousin used to chase me around with spiders, put one on my face, woke up, I've been scared ever since.
But when class is over, many go from bug squashers to spider lovers.
Who knows? Yeah, might have them as pets.
Elena wouldn't go that far.
I'd probably rate my fear about a 3 out of 10.
But says at least she's spun a more confident connection with the 8-legged critters. Okay, now that looks good and all for people who are afraid, but let me tell you that is not free. They pay about $200 to unscare themselves from spiders.
Unscare themselves.
See, I hate spiders.
I don't like them either. Well, no, I do. I have a love-hate thing with them. They scare me to death, but I'm fascinated by how they do
Move
things.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And how they just make these webs. I mean,
Yes.
like I'll go out in my backyard one day because and I'll get rid of a spider web. The next day it's returned.
It's artwork.
Yeah,
it's
it is
beautiful.
art.
It
That's true.
glistens in the sun,
With
and you're
the
like,
beads of
how did
water.
they do all of that?
So one of my what to see at the GSC for the Greensboro Science Center we shot today, which will air, they air each month. This will air a couple months from now. But they showed me how tarantulas actually molt. I didn't know that. And when they molt out of their exoskeleton, it looks like a real spider still.
And it's just sitting there with all those little hair and everything.
Nope, I'm out. I'm out. And we're out. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Eric, Chad, and Tandy with you for another half an hour coming up here.
That's right. It is Tuesday, not Monday.
Not so more like a Taco Tuesday
Ooh, I like Taco Tuesday.
than a Manic Monday.
That's what my director makes fun. Brad makes fun of this because he says it looks like a taco. My
Really?
pocket square, yes.
I have to give credit where credit is due.
Yes.
Eric
Oh, yeah.
Chilton made my pocket square today.
I really
and
wish you could have seen this conversation.
I know. Well, he goes, this is a silk one, and I'm not used to the silk one, so we did a little thing.
But he taught me. It was. Thank you for teaching me.
That's
how to do
only
this.
one way to do it.
Pocket Square 101.
If you like it, I did it. If you
Okay.
don't like it, Eric did it.
That's right, exactly right.
Okay. All right, so coming up in the next half hour, we're going to talk about margarita burns. Yes, those are a real thing. Some wellness stays so that you can get away, and some hidden gems across the Piedmont Triad. All right, but first on the 4 to 5, of course, you were following this story. Former President Donald Trump arraigned on dozens of charges related to his handling of government documents.
Miami police officers met demonstrators outside the federal courthouse where former President Donald Trump appeared for his arraignment on felony charges.
We want Trump! We want Trump!
Supporters and protesters brought their opinions of the case.
This whole country has been brainwashed.
Sad day in America. It's surreal. Can't believe it.
Inside the courthouse, the former president pleaded not guilty all 37 counts. He is accused of illegally retaining classified documents, storing them at his Mar-a-Lago home, and conspiring to hide them from the government after it subpoenaed him to get them back.
What we are witnessing today is the blatant and unapologetic weaponization of the criminal justice system.
While this is one of several investigations into Trump, this is the first time the Justice Department has brought charges against a former president. In announcing the indictment Friday, special counsel Jack Smith maintained the case is not politically motivated.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
Trump, who is the current frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination, has seen his poll numbers go up since his indictment. Chelsea Jones, CBS News, Miami.
All right, so this is Tuesday. This all comes as the former president just spoke in Greensboro at the North Carolina GOP convention over the weekend. During his speech, he took time to address the indictment against him.
The baseless indictment of me by the Biden administration's weaponized Department of Injustice will go down as among the most horrific abuses of power in the history of our country.
This is the first time federal charges have been brought against a former president. Keep in mind, there's nothing in the Constitution that prevents someone who is charged or convicted from running or serving if elected. We will have more coverage on his appearance in court coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5. All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. A body found in a burning car is now being investigated as a homicide. Greensboro police believe someone murdered 25-year-old Melvin Bailey. Investigators say his death stems from a car fire last Friday. Fire crews responded to the fire on Huffine Mill Road and found Bailey inside. An autopsy was conducted and the manner of death was declared a homicide. We'll let you more when more information is being released by police.
We got new information today on that suspected chemical spill near the Greensboro-Randolph mega site. We first told you about it last night at 11. The city of Greensboro now says a contractor installing a water main for the mega site caused it. Apparently, the contractor was installing the water main near the Bedrock Road area and discharged chlorinated water into a nearby creek. The City Water Resources Department told us the contractor is now working with the state and city to monitor and restore the site.
A really scary scene in Denver, Colorado, as basketball fans flooded to the streets to celebrate the Nuggets winning the NBA championship. That's when someone opened fire. Denver police say there was a 10-person shooting early this morning. 9 people were shot plus the suspect. 3 of those people are in critical condition.
JP Morgan Chase has agreed to pay a $290 million settlement to victims of Jeffrey Epstein. It ends a lawsuit filed by victims who claimed Epstein would not have been able to have his sex trafficking operation without the bank. A separate case accusing JP Morgan of ignoring evidence of human trafficking is still pending in the Virgin Islands.
Beautiful day out there for us today, and we will see more of the same coming up. Best rain chances for us are really toward the beginning of next week, maybe a little bit on Father's Day, but I think some of that will just be late day pop-up variety, but temperatures are really good all the way around. You look at our sky cam here, and this is our time lapse throughout the day, a couple of clouds. I mean, really, it was just absolutely beautiful. You saw a little bit of cloud cover toward the end of the day, or at least toward the middle part of the day. But other than that, we'd say partly cloudy, and that's kind of what we'll see heading into the night tonight as well. 78 in the Triad, 89 though for Wilmington's getting warm down there. Columbia at 86, Charleston 89. Meanwhile, back up in Boone, 70 degrees, comfortable. Asheville, wonderful, 73, scattered clouds. That is a beautiful day in the mountains. We look at the temperatures going to the 60s by about 10 o'clock tonight, but we think we end up in the 50s with clear skies. Will cool off rather quickly, especially once we get into that 10 p.m. and later time period overnight. So tomorrow morning might feel a little bit on the chilly side. As far as cloud cover goes for us, not a whole lot right now. We're between two systems, and with that cold front continuing its trek to the east, we're left with some pretty good stuff. Now there's a rain chance, in the afternoon. Once we get into those 80s and that summertime pattern starts to kick in, we can't really rule it out. Friday may be the only day that we could see more dry conditions than not. Other than that, it's kind of a 30% late day pop-up. That's 83 for the high tomorrow, 84 Thursday, 85 Friday, Saturday. Rain chances slip back in for Father's Day with a high of 83, and that's a frontal boundary that'll move through, give us a 50-50 shot on Monday, Tuesday, and highs cool down to 80 for those 2 days.
There are all sorts of things that we love to do outside in the summertime.
You may be tempted to sit outside and sip a fruity drink or two, right?
Right.
Maybe. It comes with a health risk, though. Our Verify team looks into claims of margaritas causing second-degree burns.
Certain plants contain defense mechanisms to protect them from being eaten, just like a hot pepper contains capsaicin. Some foods contain an organic chemical compound called fluorocormorants. According to the American Chemical Society, the sun sends those compounds into overdrive.
It's mostly found in limes, which is why we call it margarita burns, because there's lime juice usually in margaritas. But really, any citrus fruit can have these chemicals. And if they stay on your skin and that skin gets exposed to sunlight, UVA, UVB, even through a window, for people that are very sensitive, they can literally develop a sunburn.
And it's not just citrus fruits. A list from the Cleveland Clinic shows carrots, celery, fennel, and parsley also include these chemicals. So if you're a fan of Bloody Marys too, watch out. But the burn won't appear immediately.
It can usually take a day or two, and you might see a darker spot. You might see a red area. It may be a little raised, like a little lumpy, bumpy feeling, and it may hurt. It may be tender to touch. It'll be very similar to a traditional sunburn people may have experienced.
So yes, we can verify you can get burns from leaving citrus juice on your skin while you're outside or even just near a window. But it's easy to avoid. Just make sure you wash your hands with soap and water after slicing up your lime wedges, and make sure you don't let any juice sit on your face.
All right, so we want to make it really clear. It's not anything of what you're drinking, right? It could be lemonade for all that matters, right? But if you're squeezing all of that and you get it all over you and you leave it there, that's when the sunburn can happen.
Yeah, because at first that scared me because I like lime juice in everything. I actually put that, if I get a Diet Coke, I put lime in it. I do it in my water, like I like that, but I never knew that.
I thought lemon juice was only meant for your hair when you're
right,
out in the
to
sun.
lighten it up
Yeah,
and give you
to
highlights, right? The natural highlights.
Remember
cheapest highlights.
Sun in, remember?
Yes, I do.
Then
And my
people's
hair was
fell
orange.
out and turned orange.
For
Forgot
sure.
about that.
Yeah.
That is funny. All right, we'll take a break. We're coming right back. Stay there.
It should come as no surprise that something called wellness travel is exploding after the pandemic. The Global Wellness Institute says the U.S. is by far the world's top wellness economy, valued at more than $1 trillion.
The Savannah Wellness Resort and Spa lured Denver resident Victoria Hartman to the Arizona desert a couple weeks ago.
My goal was to try new classes and new experiences that I hadn't before. And so I signed up for a lot of activities that I wouldn't normally have done.
The resort in Scottsdale offers spa therapies like craniosacral massages and dozens of classes a day, including sound healing for joy, intention candle making.
So it really becomes a very intuitive practice.
And the journaling for transformation class Hartman sampled.
I've come home and I've decided to try my hand at journaling. I've never done it before.
Increasingly, stays at the resort are focused on a similar experience.
We're seeing more guests participating in our workshop classes where they can learn about tools they can take home to bring happiness and wellness into their lives at home.
In a 2023 survey by American Express Travel, over 70% of respondents say they're more focused on self-care than they were a year ago. And almost 60% are planning to take extended trips centered around wellness. It's why around 20% of guests at Victoria Jungfrau Grand Hotel and Spa in Interlaken, Switzerland, are scheduling 4 to 7 night stays.
It's to find the inner calm, to think differently.
We stayed at these hotels for special rates, including Anantara Layan in Phuket, Thailand, where travelers are seeking calm through the resort's 3-day sleep restoration program.
Since COVID, I think people are coming to an awareness of the importance of sleep and other lifestyle factors and how they impact on the immune system.
It's part of prioritizing health when it comes to booking travel. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Looks fancy, people.
It does. And
I kind of was like, I mean, go if that's what you want to do.
Yes,
But I think
absolutely.
just even getting out of your four corners, right, is part of wellness, right? Seeing something else.
And wellness, just the term, is just all relative. I mean,
That's
like
right.
for everybody, wellness is something else. I will be the first one to admit, I do not go on a vacation for rest and relaxation.
You go for fun,
I
adventure.
go for fun. I go for seeing new things and just always going. I don't want to take a nap. I'll do that the day after I get back.
Okay, now you do want to do that.
I do. Well, so wellness for me is seeing the ocean.
Right.
Like I don't have to pay for I don't like spa stuff. I don't like any of that. I like to sit there, have a drink, look at the ocean, and talk with my wife. That's wellness to me. I love that. I do like going to I like going out to nice restaurants. To me, that's wellness, you know?
I mean, I like that you can just define it the way that you want to do it.
Yes.
That's why it's called self-care.
For you, wellness is going on the road less traveled.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I want to see something
Parks and
different.
all
I want to
that,
go parks, and I want to, hike something and whatever else.
All right, real quick. Have you done all the national parks yet?
No.
Oh, I thought you had done like almost all of them.
Oh no, I got many more to do.
But that's your check mark, right?
That is my check mark. I like to check at least one off a year.
That's awesome. I love that. All right, we're coming back. Stay there. Well, we have to say kudos to one part of the Piedmont Triad. Davie County was named a 2023 All-America City. They were picked for several different reasons, including quality of life, promoting education, and celebrating heritage. 2 other North Carolina cities also won the award over the weekend, Charlotte and Fayetteville. These awards have been handed out since 1949. Only 10 awards are given out every year. So I asked you on Facebook, tell me some of the hidden gems in our part of the world for your summer vacations. We got some good ones here, some I weren't familiar with. Candace says, I have a love for Moorhead Planetarium in Chapel Hill. It's not really advertised very much, and it's fabulous experience, cool and educational. Ted said the North Carolina Vietnam Veterans Memorial. I agree with this. A lot of people don't even know where that is, he says, let alone where it's located on 99 and I-85. Kevin says Lake Hampton Park in Yadkin County, great walking and fishing area, dog friendly as well. And Dwayne said any of the falls at Hanging Rock. Boy, that is pretty. He said especially the lower Cascades. Dwayne Champion says Boone's Cave in Lexington, North Carolina. Interesting history, and it's near the Yadkin River. So a couple of those I was surprised that I didn't even know about, so that's kind of cool.
And now I'm racking my brain trying to think of one that would be little known gems.
A little known gem. And does it have to be like nature, or can it be anything else? So I love the general store in Saxapahaw.
That is a great place.
If you have never been to the general store in Saxapahaw, you need to go. It's like gourmet food, and it's just this little general store
it looks
in the middle
a
of
little
nowhere.
bit like a gas station or a bodega inside, but they
I
have
haven't
incredible
seen
food.
that.
The food is fantastic.
I love when you go out, like especially if you're heading toward the mountains of North Carolina, you're going through some of the smaller communities when they do have those little roadside general stores. I don't know where we were because we were heading to Franklin, North Carolina one time, and there was one of those hardwood floors. It looked like it was built in the 30s with a potbelly stove in the middle, and it was winter and they were using it. It was so cool.
That is really cool. And if you've never been to the Reynolds building, that is now the Kimpton Hotel, you need to walk in there because it was designed before the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building is designed because of it.
Yeah.
And when you walk in there, you can see all of the woodwork and all of the gold leaf and the beautiful marble everywhere. It's worth looking at
in the
lobby.
40s, when that was built, Winston-Salem was the largest city in the state, and that is an ornate. You couldn't afford to make that.
Oh no, no, it's amazing.
It is. It is amazing. It is. All right, let's talk about our forecast and get to what's happening over the next few days. And we always include a weekend in our forecast because Chad's always thinking about the weekend. I'm just kidding. So am I. Here's what we have out there. 78 in Greensboro, 82 in High Point. We're in the upper 70s for Siler City, Asheboro, and Lexington, all chiming in at 79. Mount Airy 77 with Wilkesboro, and we're in the upper 60s in Galax and up around the Boone area. 58 for that low tonight, mostly clear to be really nice. Winds, not really an issue. Right now we have winds around 5 to 10, maybe 13 miles per hour. It's comfortable. 83 tomorrow, though, partly cloudy skies, and we start this warming trend, which begins tomorrow and goes all the way through, it looks like, the end of the work week and maybe into Saturday. Father's Day, we start to see a shift in our forecast, and we'll show you that in a minute. Rain chances up just a smidge, but we'll go with a 40%. Across the area, not a whole lot with clouds. There goes the cold front off the coast. We're kind of in the sweet spot there in the middle as we head through tomorrow. It's the late day pop-up showers, rain chances, which, you know, normal for this time of the year when we get to that. We'll see those 80s and then a 20 or 30% chance of a pop-up late day storm. That's kind of the way it is as we head through the summer in central North Carolina. 58 with clear skies tonight. Highs tomorrow going up to 83, and then that warming trend begins with the 7-day. We'll stair-step it up a degree or two every day. 83 tomorrow, 84 Thursday. Both days a 3 in 10 chance of a late day pop-up storm. And then Friday could be a drier day. We'll go to 85 though for Friday and for Saturday. Then that rain chance bumps up to 40% on Father's Day. Monday, Tuesday though, it's a 50-50 chance, and that'll cool us down to 80 even for those 2 days.
Hey, did you see this on social media? Something that happened out the Outer Banks got somebody very upset too. I want you to focus on the kids on the top of these houses here, or this house specifically. Someone posted these pictures to Facebook, obviously very upset about it. They wrote, "This is why you get kicked out of your rentals. Parents need to watch your children better." I think that it was like there was more language in here, and I actually took it out because it was just, it seemed uncalled for to me.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying very inappropriate, rude
And I
things.
can't tell, like, if they're actually on the roof or if it's part of that, like, the roost that's on there.
But it looks like he's jumping whatever he's doing on the roof, which cannot be a good thing.
No, can't be.
But
I mean, that is how you would get kicked out of a rental if somebody saw you doing that and you own that home. You know, I don't know. So that's a 2 wants to know. Are you responsible if something happens to them when they're up there, even though they shouldn't be up there?
So they'll always say insurance covers the stupid stuff that you do.
That's true.
Discuss amongst yourselves. We'll be right back. Hi there, it is Chad, and it is, I don't know what else I'm saying, Florida, Georgia.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. It's called milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together.
1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, well, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents, and you've all heard the phrase, dance like nobody's watching, which basically just means you do you, no matter what, don't care what people think. Well, this past weekend I went to an outdoor concert, and I saw the guy that lives this, lives it. I want you to take a look. Don't know his name, never got the chance to talk to him, but I was mesmerized. So he's out there, he's listening to the band, a little bit of beat starts kicking in, he's feeling it, right? Got a little bit of that going on. And then he started his moves. And he was moving and grooving, and again, dance like nobody's watching. Now, that being said, there were 2,500 people there, and I think everybody was watching. But he didn't care. He had all the moves. He was tapping on the table. He was shaking and dancing around, doing some little flip leg move. I don't know what that is. I don't think there's a name for it. I think he invented it. I think this guy does whatever he wants to do anytime he wants to do it, and he dances like you do when you think no one's watching, and in this case they were. Again, he didn't care. And I loved it. And guess what? I probably videoed him for a good 4 or 5 minutes of the concert because I was just amazed at how some of the people were even walking past and they would look at him and then they would just smile. And what he was doing without even knowing it was passing along that vibe, right? I don't care. I'm having a good time. I'm not a professional dancer, don't want to be, don't care. Love the music. Music speaks to all of us, and it spoke to that guy like it should speak to the rest of us. So remember that phrase, dance like you want to dance when nobody's watching, whether they're watching or not. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
New at 5 o'clock, a Triad business is bringing hundreds of high-paying jobs to Guilford County. Pro Kidney is expanding and building a new manufacturing facility near PTI in Greensboro.
Yeah, the company works to treat chronic kidney disease. WFMY News 2's Amber